business folks coming and saying the most important thing to me is my faith. How do I give back? How do I make a significant difference? Moving more towards alignment. This is what we're talking about, aligning our faith life and our financial life and really being good stewards to our children.
Welcome to the Faith and Finance Report. I'm so glad you joined us. We're really going to have a great show today. First, we're going to spend a little time talking about financial literacy, which we're excited to get into the weeds a little bit and talk about some specifics. And then we're going to have a chance to visit with one of the greatest leaders in the history of the church, in the history of business. And I got a chance to catch up with Tom Monaghan when I was in California. And I'm excited to share with you what we talked about. Lastly, we're going to spend some time with our friends from Truthly, a really exciting AI technology combining with the faith. So we're excited to talk to them in great detail about what's happening with Truthly and AI broadly. And then as we close, we're going to visit with one of my favorite priests of all time, Father Joe Friede, who tells an overwhelming story about the power of one Hail Mary. I think you're going to love it. I'm excited you're here. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back to the Faith and Finance Report. I'm joined by Greg Dukes. Greg is Executive Vice President of Aquinas Wealth Advisers. Greg, you help us so much with our financial literacy. And today we're going to talk about the whole concept of faith-aligned investing. People are talking about it more than ever, thank God. They're talking about how to become faith-aligned. I know you've spent so much time at Aquinas Wealth Advisers talking about faith-aligned investing, how to do it, what to think about. Give us a couple minutes on how we can think about this, please.
So many things, Chris. And the biggest thing that a lot of people come to us and they say, I have to sacrifice performance in order to invest concurrent with our faith. That's just not true. One of the things that we do, especially here at Aquinas Wealth, that we've seen is not only being able to be in line with the appropriate indices, but also beating them in several measures throughout the course of these last several years. That gets back to essentially how we're testing, how we're screening, and what we're putting together from an asset allocation.
So somebody's at home and they're watching the Faith and Finance Report and they're thinking, I would like to have some faith alignment in my investments. I think they're wondering a couple things. Is it possible to do that? How do I do it? And how much pain is there in doing it? I think and then also how much return, which you already talked about. There's really no return. First of all, you've already answered this question. Can I do it?
Yes,
can I align my faith and finance?
100%.
With technology today, it's possible.
Very much so. And especially we created at Aquinas Wealth a proprietary system that looks at every holding inside of your portfolio.
Sure.
And gives you a score based on not only performance, but also it tells you exactly what the companies are doing that is against the tenets of the Catholic faith.
How about my advisor? I've heard people say my advisor is a person of faith, which is beautiful and wonderful, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the investments are aligned with the faith because they're disconnected, right?
Exactly, it's 100% correct. And we come across it all the time where we're talking to Catholic institutions and dioceses and convents, people that should have a Catholic investment policy statement just based on the nature of their business.
Sure.
So many people are saying to us, my advisor is a Catholic guy, my advisor is a Catholic woman. But that doesn't mean that they have the tools necessary to align their faith.
But today, with the appropriate tools, it can be done.
100%.
Is it expensive? Is it hard to do?
It's not hard to do at all. The most important thing is make sure that you're talking to an advisor that has the ability to screen and show you the screens that they're using.
So you have to you have to trust but verify. You have to say, what is the process you're going through to show me that it's aligned?
Exactly. This is the stock. This is their violation. This is when they did it. This is all very attainable.
Greg, in my life, I've talked to many people that have become heartbroken because they've worked so hard to save those dollars, and they say, my goodness, and ultimately I want to benefit the church or whatever charity, whatever I'm kind of discipleship that I'm working with. But when they realize what they're supporting with those dollars, unknowingly supporting.
Exactly. That's the thing. They don't know what those dollars are doing. And this all changed at the beginning of COVID. That's when people really started wondering, where is my money actually going with these companies that I'm supporting?
Because a lot of those companies started really making a radical turn to the left and a really anti-Catholic turn at that time.
Very much so. And that's where the Faith and Finance score comes in, and we're able to look and see with vivid clarity exactly what these companies are doing, when they did it, how much they have done it for.
Do you need to work with an advisor to be faith aligned in your investing, do you think?
You do. It helps to guide the process a little bit more. It gives you the ability to see things in a much clearer fashion laid out in front of you.
I remember you told me there are some online tools that are available for people that don't want to work with an advisor. They could go find them, seek them out, and do some testing and some studying on their own, right?
There are, but the main thing there, Chris, is making sure that that information is up to date, because that information can change quarterly. And some of those online tools that are free, they do provide a good bit of insight, but they are not as accurate as we would like them.
And I know the Vatican got on board with some indexes they came out with, or announced a few months ago.
Sure.
I think you had said to me, good first step, but maybe not as detailed as it should be.
Correct. And we look at some of these things that they have yet to disclose a lot of the companies that are in these indices,
Yeah.
So those are the things that we really want to get some clarity on.
And some of the companies they did name were actually tremendous offenders,
exactly
if
right.
memory serves.
That's exactly
so
right.
we're wondering about the screening of that a little bit.
That gets to your point. Make sure that it's screened appropriately by a
So
professional.
for financial literacy, for someone who's watching the Faith and Finance Report, there's good news here. Today, if they want to have faith-aligned investing, it's possible, it's not painful, and it doesn't impede performance that all too
Correct.
much. Maybe at all.
Exactly right. It's exactly correct.
It's beautiful. So that means so the technology is bad in a lot of ways, but in this way, perhaps it's good. It's a blessing.
Yes, sir. Very much so.
Greg Dukes, Executive Vice President of Aquinas Wealth Advisers. Thanks for joining us on the Faith and Finance Report, and we'll be right back.
Thank you, Chris.
And welcome back to the Faith and Finance Report. I had a chance to catch up with Tom Monaghan, one of the all-time greats out on the West Coast. Let's take a look. Welcome back to the Faith and Finance Report. Our program is designed to help people live their Catholic faith in every aspect of their business, to use the gifts that God has given them, to put them to the greatest good, and ultimately to really help advance God's kingdom on earth through our professional endeavors. We're so honored today to have, I think, really the person who exemplifies that best in the world today, Tom Monaghan. Tom, thank you so much for being here. It's an honor to be with you.
Good to be here.
Tom, as we sit here at the Legatus Summit, and this is just one of the many things that you've done. It's just one of dozens of things that you've done. And Legatus has been transformational for me and my family and so many members that are here. I want to first start by thanking you for having the courage and the entrepreneurial drive to start your businesses and Legatus. And really just thank you for what you've provided for me and the thousands of members around the country. Thank you.
Well, you've been a good member. You've been on the board of directors and very influential in making me a better Catholic.
Thank you, Tom. Tom, we were talking about putting Christ at the center of our lives in business. Can you help us better understand the steps that you have done to really put Christ at the center of everything that you've done and continue to do?
Well, one thing, we had a company chaplains.
Wow.
We had a Protestant chaplain and a Catholic chaplain. We built a chapel with the permission of the bishop and allowed us to have a tabernacle, and we had mass every day. And now we have 4 masses every day at our office, and 2 on Saturday. And confessions about 2 hours every day.
2 hours every day.
Before and after every mass.
Wow.
They come from all around. So that's
Tom, there's all of us in business, in work. There's things competing for our time, always, right? Chirping in our ear, problems, issues. How can are there any techniques that you could help us think how to really block out the noise and focus on what's important in our lives?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that. I've for about 50 some years, I've been going to mass every day. And
50 years of going to mass every day.
Yeah, 1972, I believe.
1972. It's
yeah,
amazing.
when I read the Don Shula, went to mass every day, and I always wanted to, but I just felt I had to wait till I had more time. And then I said, if he can do it, why can't I? Who's busier than a great winning coach? So
that's amazing. Tom, I think life by design. I remember you had sent the book to the board a few years ago, Halftime, and going from sustainability to significance, I believe is the term.
Yeah.
Going to making our lives something significant, and by doing that, using the gifts God has given us. I see how you built your life. I've had a small peek into it. Domino's Farm's an amazing place. If I recall correctly, that mass hears more confessions than than many of the churches in the diocese. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, it's probably about 150 a day.
150 a day.
Mm-hmm.
That they wouldn't have mass in their lives otherwise, but there's the Blessed Sacrament, there's adoration. I think it's amazing. I'm just in awe of what you've done. When is it difficult? Some of us believe, or at least we try to kind of rationalize it and say, I'm so busy, I don't have time.
Mm-hmm. Well, that
for
was
Christ.
me too.
Well, you had one of the largest businesses in the world at that time, in the food service business. You had the baseball team that just won a little thing in the World Series.
No.
It's hard for me to understand that level of busy, and yet you that was all secondary and beyond that, in your faith. Can you give us a little insight into that, please?
Well, I tend to be not very organized, so I had forced myself to be. And one thing that I said, the daily mass and daily rosary and regular confession were something I've forced myself to do. Yeah.
So you force yourself to do it and lives with discipline. I was happy in my life. I try to do 4 P's every day: productivity. I try to be positive. I try to do the Peloton, and I try to do push-ups. And I was so happy to learn that I learned, I think I got my best material from stealing it. And I realized I stole the push-ups from you in retrospect. So you've been a role model in so many ways. What drives you today? What is in your brain that helps you kind of keep your foot on the gas pedal?
Well, enthusiasm's never been one of my problems. I've got a lot of problems, but that's not one of them. And I'm always dreaming and thinking ahead. And right now, it's a university and a law school, and it's we want to be the Catholic Hillsdale, small but very powerful, very selective.
And the university, I was focusing on Legatus. The university is enormous. And this will be felt for generations and generations, what the impact it's going to have on people around the world. And the law school, think about trained, but also the humanity of where they're learning. It's centered around Christ and the Blessed Sacrament. It's really awe-inspiring to realize that one man can change the world.
Wow.
And I admire you for being that one man. And it's aspirational for so many of us to say it can be done. And I certainly can't, I can't let excuses drive me, right? I can't let excuses drive me. So something else I wanted to mention, I think is fascinating to me. In building this enterprise, Domino's Pizza, I think you had told me one time, you really drove the organization, but you trusted other people. So I'm absolutely on the Mount Rushmore of Catholics, Catholic business leader. It's a small circle. Tom Monaghan is on that Mount Rushmore. If you were to put another face on that Mount Rushmore, who do you look for? Who inspires you? Who gives you that same, or who in the past had given you that same feeling?
Certainly John Paul II.
Oh, fantastic.
Mother Angelica. Father Mike Scanlon, that's Franciscan.
Beautiful.
I think he should be the patron saint of Catholic higher education. He was a dear friend and a great influence to me.
Wow.
That's just a few.
That's beautiful. Well, I just want to, on behalf of myself and all the members of Legatus, the people in Aveda you've touched all over the world, Catholics everywhere, I think we owe you a great gratitude. Many of us don't even know that it was you behind that. And this doesn't even touch all of the philanthropy you've done around the world. You've built churches around the world. You've done so many things. So I pray that God continues to bless you and your family, and just thank you so much for being with us, okay?
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Welcome back to the Faith and Finance Report. I had a chance to catch up with Kareem Shahad, one of the founders of Truthfully, a fascinating company in the AI space, bringing Catholicism in. Let's take a look. We're back with the Faith and Finance Report. We're joined now by Kareem Shahadi. Kareem, thank you so much for being here on the Faith and Finance Report.
Thank you, Chris.
We're so excited to have you here. You know, we feature business leaders. We feature Catholic business leaders, and we're especially drawn to these stories that not only are Catholic business leaders, but they're actually in the Catholic business space.
we're so excited to talk about your company, truthfully. I know we're going to talk about the founders, the genesis of the company, and your background and your family. We're so excited to get into it. I know the broad strokes, but can you tell the folks at home a little bit about where Truthfully came from and how you guys came together?
Oh, of course. Thanks so much, Chris, for having me on here. Truthfully, first and foremost, what we're building is a Catholic AI app.
That's unbelievable what you just said, because everyone says the same thing to me in my world. AI is dark and it is woke and it's evil.
Yeah.
And when you say Catholic AI, that in and of itself is just so exciting to hear. Please.
Yeah, what we're building essentially is an app that can answer any question you have and provide it with the lens of the Catholic faith, essentially. So
yes.
we can provide guidance on any question you have with that lens.
I know you had an enormously successful career prior to joining this company, so I think it's beautiful to hear a little bit more about that, please.
Oh, of course. Perhaps I could start with my co-founders, how they came, and then I'll bring myself into it.
Always modesty is always good,
yeah,
right?
If you're cool with it.
Yeah, sure.
So, my two co-founders, Jacob and Zach, they met in Charlotte, North Carolina.
At a business meeting, a very important business meeting. I remember correctly.
It was at a Chick-fil-A.
That's right. That's where we met.
Zach was part of a Christian band traveling, and whenever he had extra time, he'd make some extra money working at Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
And Jacob was in the drive-thru, and he came through the drive-thru several times.
He was a customer at the drive-thru.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable. Okay, yes.
And Jacob had a holy book, about his faith in this car. I think Zach noticed it. They eventually started talking, realized, hey, we're both Catholic, and they realized that they shared another thing in common, that their girlfriends / fiancés were Protestant.
Yes. Yes.
And during that time, so they built a friendship. They're as couples, they became friends. And during that time, both of their girlfriends and fiancés were exploring the Catholic faith.
I see.
And searching for that truth, essentially. In that process, Jacob specifically, our CEO, he wished he had this kind of this pocket, theologian that could answer questions for him in times where he was caught off guard or he just didn't have the answer.
It's not even just the secular world that can catch us off guard. It's our Protestant brothers and sisters that maybe we don't know the right answer, we don't know where to go, and then we're kind of left flat-footed.
Yeah.
And then we're kind of on the defensive as if we don't know how, we're not able to defend our faith and understand the beauty of it.
That's right. And so he wished he had that. They both got married, grew some beautiful families, had wonderful business lives.
Yes.
In the secular world. 2 years ago, Jacob was at a crossroads in his career.
Yes.
He was trying to figure out, what to do next. He went to a retreat, and that retreat was split into 3 days. And the first day was focused on kind of prayer and faith. The next day was focused on study.
Yes.
And the last day was focused on action.
I thought that's
and he thought, there's all these great tools out there for different aspects of our faith life. But there needs to be more tools out there, better tools out there that help me live out my faith in action. And ChatGPT-3 had recently come out, and that's when it came to him. I could build that pocket theologian,
Yes.
I could build that platform that answers questions that I need help with, not to replace the great wisdom of, our priests, the great wisdom of other individuals that we should always go to, but to be an additional source.
There are great resources now more than ever with the web, but the problem is it's hard to get to those and looking for that answer, that quick answer. What does this mean? What is our position on this? Or what is the Catholic answer for this? So it takes all that stuff and kind of runs it through a Catholic filter. Is that right?
That's right.
I love the idea of that.
That's right.
And the idea that it was a drive-through at Chick-fil-A is an unbelievable story. It shows there's no coincidences. God, the Holy Spirit's always working. He saw a Bible in his car, and here we are, 3 or 4 years later with a company that's rolling. It's amazing. Congratulations. Congratulations so far.
Yeah.
Where are you guys heading? What do you think? I mean, Kareem, what's the next? To me, it seems like the market is potentially endless for this. Is that?
Yeah.
What is your thoughts?
Yeah. So if you think about it, we don't know the exact ratio, but one in every approximately, let's just 100 questions, let's say, is a question about the faith.
Yes.
But one in every few questions requires a faith-based truth in the response.
Yes.
There's a much higher ratio of questions that require faith-based truth in the response. For example, what movie should I go to today?
Absolutely.
It's a simple question.
Sure.
But a wrong response could guide you the wrong way and could guide someone towards sin.
Absolutely.
We're aiming to answer any question you have, whether it be what movie you're going to or whatever it may be.
Yes.
But have that lens of the Catholic faith there to guide someone towards the right movie.
How many Catholics could be using Truthfully 10 years from now? What do you think?
We'll leave that in God's hands.
Sure.
I'll tell you now, we're getting close to 200,000 downloads.
200,000 downloads.
That's right.
In just a couple of years.
That's right. About a year and a half since we launched.
I would like to see that growth chart because it looks amazing. That's just the tip of the iceberg, I think, in terms of the folks that could be using this tool. Is that right?
Yeah, it's the tip of the iceberg, we believe. If God wants it to continue, we'll reach as many souls as possible.
You also told me, you shared with me a little bit about your moment. You had a moment after you came to the church. You were a Coptic Christian. You were getting married. You converted to the faith. But just recently after that, you had a moment that changed your life. I think our viewers would love to hear about that.
Yeah. So some backdrop. I'm married to my beautiful wife. We have five daughters. When we got married, I was a bit hesitant on her ask, and which is also the church's ask, to raise our children Catholic.
Yes.
But I really wanted to marry her. So
they always win. They always win, as they should.
And I agreed to that. Sure. And I'm very thankful for that the decision. Over the years, taking my kids to church, getting closer to the faith, learning more.
Yes.
In search for the truth, I came to myself a full realization that the Catholic Church is the one true holy church.
That is a realization you came to.
I came to.
Beautiful.
And, with the support of my wife, became Catholic a couple of years ago, formally.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard. We're glad to have you.
And a few days after that occurred, it was a very strong kick me in the butt. Feeling from a prodigal son type moment.
Wow.
Where I just felt like God was saying, Kareem, I want you to live your faith in every aspect of your life. Don't silo it.
Yes.
You need to live it in every aspect of your life.
Which is a challenge, right? It's a challenge.
It is a challenge, definitely. And I just felt this desire to go take risk, a holy risk. Which is one of our company's core values: take holy risks.
That's beautiful.
And I didn't know what it would turn into. I attended a few months prior a business conference. And at that business conference, my group leader, a Catholic business conference, and my group leader was Jacob, our CEO. And that's how we built initial relationship.
Exactly. There's never a coincidence, right? It's the Holy Spirit at hand. Kareem, we're so grateful for you to be here. We're so grateful that Truthfully exists. If we want to know more, is it truthfully.com? Where can we download the app? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. So you could either go to the App Store or on Apple or go to the Google Play Store, or go to www.truthfully.ai to use our desktop version as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Kareem, God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much,
Kareem
Chris.
Shahadi, thanks very much. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Faith and Finance Report. I'm excited to share the story from Father Joe Friede of the power of one Hail Mary. Let's take a look. So welcome back to the Faith and Finance Report. We're so lucky to be joined by church leader, tremendous priest, incredible witness to just all the beauty of our faith, Father Joe Friede. Thanks, Father Joe, for being back with us.
Thanks. Yeah.
Our show, the Faith and Finance Report, is really trying to help folks align their unsilo their lives, live a 360-degree life, live their faith in all aspects, which is hard, right?
Yeah.
I know it's been very hard for me. What if we were starting to go down that road, that process of integrating kind of our faith in everything we do? This is a simple, easy question, right? Yeah. What's the first thing we should think about doing, do you think, Father Joe?
Yeah, I think just to kind of zoom out with the big picture is you kind of nailed it, right? It's like so often, at least in my life, I kind of have, my God section over here, and then they have other things that I do. And, I mean, it's ridiculous. Even at prayer, sometimes I'll be like going through my set list of prayers and I'll experience God kind of nudging me and being like, not now, God, I'm praying, right? but yes. What I mean to say is like, you kind of nailed Christianity in that I think sometimes we think we have our lives and our kind of lives revolve around things, really good things sometimes, such as family and, our work and supporting our families. And then we have God on Sunday or God other times, right? But the actual Christian invitation that Jesus Christ invites us to through the Gospels and through the church is that your whole life will revolve around me. And then you might have other things, right? Yes. But I am the axis in which you revolve around, right? So, and then you might play golf, you might go fishing, you might do these other things or family as well. But I am the one that your life revolves around. So that's kind of the invitation of, not kind of, beautiful. That's the invitation of Christianity, that Jesus Christ desires to be the center of our lives. So
Father Joe, as we're in our working lives and we're dealing with people that are maybe underachieving our expectations for them in our organization, or maybe the people we're reporting to are really treating us in a way that, isn't exactly Christ-like. Is there anything we can do to kind of help us take a moment, take a step back and think about, evaluate where we are and maybe at least take baby steps in the right direction? Is there anything that kind of jumps to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most basic things are, often the most important. It's right. Like if we have a daily prayer life, like obviously we have to have a daily prayer life where we're committed to praying, and this is what I do. And then inside of that prayer life to make sure it's, there's real substance that I'm connecting with Jesus Christ. And then I think that kind of dictates how I live the rest of my life and the rest of my day. But I just started reading a book on the virtues by Sri, S-R-I, that's just fantastic. And to get a simple book on the virtues, honestly, and to kind of see, especially the cardinal virtues, to see like, this is how the Christian is supposed to live a virtuous life. And so just in your simple question, like, how do I interact with my superiors, or how do I interact with people that work for me? The answer is like in a Christ-like virtuous way. And for us to be able to do that, we have to know that, because sometimes we think some people will come into confession and they'll confess the sin of anger, which is an actual sin, but then they'll talk about it. And I'm like, oh, that's actually not the sin of anger. You're speaking about the passion or the emotion of anger that God has given us in order to move us. It's an emotion. We're supposed to be moved. So to kind of understand, like, because I think sometimes like, I'm just supposed to take this. Somebody's treating me poorly. Yes. And the Christian response is, I'm just going to take this and not defend myself. It's like, that's not actually
turn the other cheek is what I've been told, right? Yeah. That's hard to do though.
It's really hard to do it. And we have to understand what the Lord actually means in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Father Joe, you achieved, and many of our viewers know this, you achieved athletically at a very, very high level. I was never burdened with achieving at a high level athletically, ever. It was never a burden for me. And I was laughing the other day because I saw something on Instagram, a priest said, I'm going to put my dream football team together. I said, I know Preety's going to be the quarterback. I think the guy was so young. He was like in the South somewhere. Yeah. He named some guy I never heard of before. So he said, I'm the quarterback.
Yeah, I think he said that.
Yeah, you saw that.
I played. He went, yes, 1,000 people sent it to me.
Okay, that makes sense.
I thought 25 years ago, I was a decent athlete. I'm still riding this thing. I'm like, keep it going.
This is great. I thought you were going to be QB, but he named himself. I'm glad they said that to you. But when you're in a team situation like that, and I'm not ready. I'm not used to that alpha male type guy to be the one who heals everybody and brings them together. That kid from Indiana, you've seen him. He's amazing, right? Yeah. And Molly and I laughed because Molly's roommate, I told you Molly's roommate in college was the coach's wife, Signetti. Oh, wow. So we got a chance to kind of, they're our buddies. We know them for a long time. Yeah. Then I see that kid and I think to myself, how's that going? And everything that kid's very active at the Newman Center.
Yeah.
The quarterback.
That's
very
awesome to
active.
hear.
Heisman Trophy winner, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And those guys, those the Dominicans out there, right? And they're good guys. And actually, one of them, I think I'm going to ask that guy to come to our conference, Catholics the Shore, because I've heard just great things about him.
Cool.
Because Father Joe and you were so nice to come down there and homilize. There's homilize. Did I make that word up? That's not a word.
It's valid.
Okay.
I like it.
But when you did it, there was people at that conference that said to me, that homily changed my life and brought me back to God.
That's beautiful.
You did that.
Praise the Lord.
So how do you? I don't reconcile that. The alpha male, the guys running the company, or senior guy, lady or man in the company. How do they take that gift, but also mesh it with the need to be compassionate, loving, understanding? It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Again, virtue is what, especially the virtue of temperance. It's going to use all the energies and the passions and the talents the Lord has given us for his glory. But sometimes we do, in our minds, I think we have this idea of being a saint means to be very quiet and low. Yes. And it's like, that's the Lord, he shows us something very differently. And I think of a Damien of Molokai, right? St. Damien went to the leper colony.
Wow.
Like, he was a man full of fire and vigor and, tough to get along with and challenging and difficult. But it's like God needed a man like that with the passion and the energy and the fire to go do something extraordinarily difficult. So,
I'm going to get on a boat. I'm never coming home. Right? You don't come. There's a one-way boat trip, right?
There's a one-way boat trip, right? It's incredible.
So he's this big alpha male said, I'm going to go give the rest of my life to the lepers.
That's right. Think of John Paul II. It's like, I'm going to stand up and fight against communism. I'm going to fight against fascism. That's not going to be this kind of, well, I'll just do whatever you tell me to do. But
little flower kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And meekness, the Lord describes himself adjectively in two ways, meek and humble of heart. I just heard meekness defined, because often we think of, again, the meek, little, quiet.
Yes.
And it's like, no, meekness is strength under control, which I thought was beautiful. It doesn't mean a lack of strength or a spinelessness. It means strength under control. And humility of heart does not mean necessarily, I don't speak up, I never share my opinion.
Yes.
G.K. Chesterton points out it could actually be the very quiet person at the board meeting that is the most prideful, because they're afraid to hurt their own reputation by speaking.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I think there's some misconceptions that we have of humility, of meekness, of strength that aren't actually in accord with what the Lord taught.
Those are tremendous insights. Thank you so much for sharing those, and thanks for being with us today. Thank you. God bless you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Great. And we'll be right back. Thanks so much for joining us in the Faith and Finance Report. We covered a lot of ground. I'll look forward to seeing you soon.